Today we're talking about boots or shoes, whatever you put on your feet when you walk your Camino.
Hello, I'm Gigi, and this is Bella, and I am a Perpetual Pilgrim. Are you?
What type of footwear do you need when you walk a Camino? If you lined up 10 Camino veterans and asked them that question, you'd come up with 10 answers. Whatever works for you is the correct answer. But how do you know where to start? What should you look for when you go to the store? Hopefully this video is going to give you enough information so that when you do go to the store to start searching for your boots or shoes, whatever you're going to wear, you will know the questions that you need to be asking. The first question you need to ask is, which Camino are you going to be walking? There are many Caminos that go across Spain to Santiago de Compostela. They each have their own challenges. Some are easier, some are harder, some are a combination of everything. Are you going to be walking on gravel or grass or dirt or climbing up mountains or down mountains? Are you walking on roads? What type of surface are you walking on is going to help you make that decision. The second question you need to ask is, what time of year are you going? Obviously, if you're going in the wintertime, it's going to be cold and wet, and so you're going to need a heavier and really waterproof shoe. If you're going in the summertime, especially if you're crossing the Meseta or Extremadura, you're going to need something light and breathable. So the terrain and the time of year are going to be two very important questions that you need to consider. I'm very lucky. I just lucked into finding the right shoes at the right time for the right Caminos. I have two different kinds of shoes. They're both Merrells, and this one is the low profile, this one is the higher profile. Now, this one I would use on the Camino Frances, especially going over the Pyrenees from Saint-Jean, Pied-de-Port. Also the Camino Norte, because you get a lot more mountains, a lot of up and down type of stuff. This other shoe, it's a lower profile and lightweight. And I use this on almost everything else, the Camino Portuguese, the Via de la Plata, Sanabras, all of those. So, and I've never had a problem with my feet. So once again, I'm very lucky. So these are the two shoes that I use, and they work really well for me. The Merrell high profile and the Merrell low profile. And by the way, I wear a size 7. These are both size 8. You always want to get your shoes at least one size larger than your normal shoe, because as you're walking, your feet are going to swell. So let's talk about that horrible foot condition called a blister. How does it happen? Well, your surface skin area is tough, and as you get further to the core, or inside, closer to the bone, the tissues are going to be softer. So when you have a heavy callus on the bottom of your foot, as you go further in toward the bone, the cellular structure of the tissues are going to be a lot softer. And here's a really easy explanation. Let's just say this sponge is the bottom part of your foot. So this is the callus area, the hard stuff. And as you go in toward the bone, it's going to be a softer cellular structure. So when you have a boot or sock or whatever, and it's rubbing, it's putting friction on the outside, the inside tissue is softer, and so it's going to eventually start breaking down. And so those cells are going to burst and release their fluids. And that's how you get a blister with fluid in it. So really interesting little visual there on blisters. So how do we prevent them? Well, first of all, you've got to recognize when the blister is starting. We call those hot spots because as that boot is rubbing on the skin, it's making the foot hot. So when you start to initially feel that hot spot, that's when you have to stop and take care of it. So you have a hot spot on your foot. What do? Well, the first thing is you take your boot off so you can get that friction away from the upcoming blister that you're going to have. If you have some sandals or other shoes, it'd be a great time to put them on and just give your feet a break. But if you have to put those shoes back on, what you're going to need to do is put some padding around that spot so that your boot is no longer rubbing on that area. So you grab your first aid kit and you pull out of it your gloves, okay, PPE. Then you get some Gauze Compresses, and I'm going to use my little dog's toy here to help demonstrate. You're going to put a folded compress in like a donut shape around the blister. So as you can see, we're adding a layer that's going to take the boot off of that hot spot. And then we just use our tape and tape it up. Put the boot back on if you can. I do not represent the norm for the Camino walker. I've never had a problem with my feet. I've never had a blister while walking a Camino, but I'm just lucky. So I reached out to some Camino friends and asked them if they would give me a Zoom call and tell me about their shoes so we can get some other input into this problem. Good morning, my friend Charlotte. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, thank you. Good morning, Gigi. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's lovely to see you too. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing the information with us and with our watchers. You're a very experienced Camino enthusiast. And I'm looking at your wall. That is really, really fun. You've got some Compostelas there. Tell us about those, would you?
I've got some Compostelas, and I always get a distance certificate as well, just to.
I see. There's the Fisterra one, and then the Santiago ones.
Yes.
Oh, how fun! Oh, those are all so special. It's nice to have them mounted on your wall like that. So you can.
I guess it's my I Love Me wall, so I walk by here and long to go back to the Camino. So.
All right. So would you please start off by telling our viewers what Caminos have you walked and where and when?
Well, my first Camino was in 2017. I walked the Camino Frances from Saint Jean. And then in 2019, I walked the Portuguese Central route from Lisbon. And we went on to Finisterre after we reached Santiago. And then last fall, 2021, I walked the Camino Inglés and the Via de la Plata from Seville.
That's a nice, all of those are really nice. I don't know, is there a Camino that's not really nice?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow. So where are you coming to us from right now?
I am coming to you from Peoria, Arizona.
Peoria.
Just outside Phoenix.
Okay, just a little north of Phoenix.
Yes.
What's the weather like this time of year?
Getting warm. It's in the 90s. I expect it to stay as such for the rest of the summer and then get into triple digits here pretty soon. So my walking days outside might be limited over the next few months, but that's okay. I have other plans. So
it's excellent training for the Meseta and the Via de la Plata when you get into the Extremadura area, right?
That's absolutely true. As a matter of fact, when I was on the Frances, it was maybe in the 80s when we were on the Meseta, and everyone was complaining about the heat, but it didn't bother me at all. So maybe it's actually good training to live in the desert.
All right. So tell us about your shoes. What kind of shoes do you wear and why?
I wear a New Balance running shoes. I like New Balance because I have very wide feet, and New Balance comes in a variety of wide sizes, and I found them to be most comfortable. So I just get whatever the current style is. I also use gel inserts in my shoes, which I found to help quite a bit. It especially helped quite a bit when I was doing the Portuguese because of all the cobblestones. It just helps cushion your foot a little more and just more comfortable, I think, overall.
Mm-hmm. And so it's a running shoe. It's not a trail running shoe or a hiking shoe. It's just a running shoe?
It's actually a running shoe, yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, have you ever tried boots or?
No, I have not. I don't think I would like boots. I think they would bother my ankles. I'm not used to boots. So for me personally, I mean, you have to find what works best for you. I just don't think that boots would work for me. So.
All right. So now you're in just north of Phoenix and nice warm weather there. What kind of training do you do for your Caminos?
I normally do, I just walk outside. I've been walking outside for years and years. I started walking, my daughter was 8, she's 32 now, so a long time. I've gradually increased the mileage over the years. And so now I'm up to 10 miles a day, and it just makes me feel better. And I feel like it keeps me in shape if I should suddenly decide to do a Camino, I'm almost ready. So.
Now you're getting ready to go on a really interesting trip, one that you've planned for a couple of years, and it's finally coming to fruition. Tell us about that.
Yes, I leave in the mid-May to go to Peru to hike up to Machu Picchu on the Inca Trail. Wow. It's a 4-day hike. It starts in just outside Cusco, and you walk up to Machu Picchu. I believe we leave the last day. I believe we leave early in the morning so we can get up to Machu Picchu at sunrise. Wow. And then we're up at Machu Picchu for a while, and then you take the train back to Cusco.
Wow, that sounds like a fantastic trip.
Yes, let's hope so. So
what is your Camino after this one? What is your next time to go to Spain and do a Camino?
My plan is to do the Norte perhaps in next summer, June or July of 2023.
2023.
Yeah. That's next on my list. So.
How about walking alone or walking with people? What do you prefer?
I enjoy meeting up with people. I'm kind of an introvert, so I do appreciate my time by myself and just have some quiet time. And it's really easy, especially on the lesser traveled Caminos, to find time to yourself. But I do enjoy interaction with other pilgrims. I have a friend that I've walked all my Caminos with, so we get along very well, and she's a good companion. But again, she walks a little faster than I do, so again, I can have my alone time, or I can interact with her should I choose to.
I can't imagine anyone who walks faster than you. You're the fastest person I have ever walked with. Oh my goodness. Okay, one more question. Have you ever had any foot injuries? Blisters, twisted ankles?
I have been extremely fortunate not to have any foot issues. I do think the gel inserts help. I also like to use sock liners. They're very thin, obviously they go into your socks. I think that helps to reduce the friction a little bit. I think one mistake people make is that their shoes are too small. I suggest that you buy shoes that are at least half a size, if not a size larger than you normally wear, because that allows for your foot to swell. And I just think some people are prone to blisters, some people aren't. But I think that's one of the things that people perhaps do that lead to problems or their shoes are too small.
Yeah, because your feet are going to swell.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this information with us. So good to see you, and I hope to see you soon, either in Arizona or on a Camino in Spain.
That would be awesome.
Bye, my friend.
Bye, Gigi. Thank you.
Really valuable information. Brooks shoes, running shoes, and gel inserts. It just goes to show you there are, so many possibilities, so many variables. The only way you're going to really find out what's going to work is just to start trying them. My next guest comes to us from the northwestern part of the United States. We have Fred. Good morning, my friend Fred. How are you today?
Good morning, Gigi. I'm great. And yourself?
Oh, lovely. So nice to see you.
You
Thank you
too.
so much for joining us and
Yeah, my
sharing
pleasure.
your wealth of information with us. First of all, what part of the world are you coming to us from today?
I live in the state of Washington, United States, north of Seattle, 100 miles, right on the Canadian border.
Wow, what's the weather like up there?
Today it's a nice mid 50s, a little sunny. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm down here in Northern California, and we're supposed to reach the 90s today.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm jealous, actually.
Summer is here.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
So, Fred, tell me, what Caminos have you walked and when?
I started my Camino journey back in 2011. I started walking the Francais from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in July 2011, and I finished it to Santiago de Compostela in 30 days. And then I walked again the same route in 2013, October of that year. Then I went back in 2015 and I walked from Lourdes, France, and walked through the Pyrenees, basically the foothills of the Pyrenees on the Piedmont route to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and then from there I walked on to Santiago de Compostela. Met one of my daughters in Santiago, and then the two of us walked from there to Finisterre. And then I went back and I did the central route of the Portuguese way in 2017, and then in 2018 I went twice to Spain and France. And I walked the first time I walked from Burgos to Santiago on the Francais route, and then I went back later that year and I walked from Saint Jean to Burgos to complete that Francais, and then I went up to Ferrol and walked the Inglés. Finally, my most recent one was in 2019 in April and May. I walked the Via de la Plata, which is to this date has still been my favorite of all the seven Caminos I've walked. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is a nice one. I like that
Yeah.
one. So, what do you have on your feet when you do all this walking? What kind of shoes or boots do you wear?
My first Camino, and I was a rookie and was very green, very unaware of what was appropriate. Had a pair of hiking boots that I had bought from REI, and I think they were kind of a generic REI brand. I walked with those, and within the first day, I had terrible blisters. It was overkill. And then when I got to right outside of Pamplona, beyond Pamplona, there's a really nice, in César Menor, there's a really nice albergue there with a lady, I think it's Maribel or something like that, Maribel, who runs it. She doctored up my feet, which were a mess, and she showed me some tricks on how to tie my boots better, and also gave me a very interesting method in which to manage the sweat in your feet. And she told me to get a woman's feminine napkin and put it in the base of the shoe. And so I did that. It was a little bit awkward for me to go into the stores to buy that, but she told me to get the high absorbent nighttime version. So that's what I did for the rest of my way to Santiago. So that was, but the boots were definitely overkill. So I went the next time in 2013. I switched to Tiva shoes, hiking shoes, which is a low cut and it was a nice shoe, very nice shoe, much lighter than the boots. Great sole, Vibram sole, and they were Gore-Tex as well. I did that for the next. I think I did that for the next two Caminos. I did Tivas as well on my long one in 2015. And frankly, I still got blisters. I always get them on my heels, and it doesn't seem to matter what shoe I wear, what sock combination, how I take care of my feet. You know, the Vaseline, the glide or whatever you do. It's just, I've used talc powder in the shoes, it just doesn't seem to help. I'm just prone to it, I think. So, so then that year I also, I wore, my blisters were so bad in 2013 that I actually had to skip a few stages. I hitchhiked one day. I got a ride with a Spanish guy one day, took the train a little bit. I'd already walked the full Camino and I didn't need to prove anything to myself. So I was willing to skip some stretches. I actually walked the stretch. It was on my birthday from Burgos to Hontanas. And I walked those in Teva sandals. And that was a real mistake. I got such bad blisters on the base of my feet, on the balls of my feet. It was terrible. Actually, I have those actual sandals somewhere here. Can you see those?
Yes, I certainly can. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Those are the Teva sandals I wore for one day, about 35 kilometers. So yeah, time I hit my 4th Camino, I decided to go to trail runners. That was a much better experience. They're just, trail runners nowadays are so much better than they used to be. So I walked in 2017, I walked in some Brooks, the Portuguese way. I believe they are Brooks Cascadias. And then in 2018, when I walked twice, I wore a pair of Asics and for one of them, and then Hoka ones for the other ones. And those are right here. Those are the Asics there. And these are the Hokas. Hokas actually, they're nice and comfortable. They're very wide. And so I really like the Hokas. They got a very soft cushion. They're actually kind of ugly shoes. They look like clown shoes, but they were effective. Still got some blisters, not as bad. And then when I did my 2019, my longest one, that's over 1,000 kilometer, the Via de la Plata from Sevilla, I wore this shoe, not this exact one. I actually bought an exact pair just like it, but here's the one. That was the Cascadia Brooks as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They're probably my favorite shoe.
When is your next Camino?
I'm hoping to be able to go back next spring. I want to do the Mozarabe really bad from Almeria. That's a nice 7 or 8 week experience. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Now, are you getting your blisters like right on the bottom of the feet or up on the sides?
They're really on the side of my heels, on the back of my heels. That's where I get them most of. I've had a couple on the balls of the feet right behind the toes.
Right.
And
yeah, those are really hard to prevent if that's where you get them.
Yeah. And I've done the right socks, which has the double layer sock. I've done, Darn Tough, the merino wools. I've tried just about everything, but feet aren't necessarily made to walk that kind of distance. So
yeah, 10, 15, 20 miles every day for,
every day.
40, 50 days.
Yeah.
Well, my friend Fred, thank you so much for dropping in and sharing this valuable information. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And hope to catch you on a trail somewhere in Spain.
I sure hope so.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I enjoyed putting it together. Hey, join me next week when we talk about first aid on the Camino. What do you do if ... fill in the blank. Until next week, buen Camino, Perpetual Pilgrim.